Hello agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Targeted Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Sunday, February 21st. In this series, I cover a large scope of useful info. We got the Targeted Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, including Cassie, and build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoyed this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if not, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And remember to hit the bell notification to all so you never miss a daily morning video, and comment below if you have any questions or feedback. Otherwise, let's get this video started. Alright agents, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are always in that big bottom left overlay. I'd probably say maybe get the Ekim's long stick at DZ East, and really that's about it. There's not much that I recommend for the actual vendors. In DZ West though, we do have Dark Zone exclusives, in fact in every Dark Zone today. So first off, we got two DZ exclusive chest pieces, and that of course is the Ferocious Calm chest piece with perfect overwatch, a Fenris one, and then a Door Kicker's Knock with perfect spark. Now that's a Grupo Sombra one. Now what I would recommend is both of them really, but with the Door Kicker's Knock especially because it is available over at the DZ South vendor, but it's rolled like a rainbow roll. And then of course the two exotics, the Tardigrade and the Ridgeway's Pride, you could also farm for in DZ West today if you would like to. But remember, the Tardigrade you could just straight up farm for, but the Ridgeway's Pride you need to just do the quest and the project first, then it'll join the chest targeted loot pool. Next up at DZ South, we got LMGs as targeted loot. So we got the Black Friday with Perfectly Unhinged. That is going to be the only Dark Zone exclusive LMG that you could farm for today in the Dark Zone, and the only DZ exclusive LMG anyway. Otherwise, you can still farm for the Bullet King and especially the Pestilence, which drops like super fast in the DZs, whether it's LMG targeted loot or not. So I'd highly recommend picking out that one and the Bullet King, either one if you need to farm for them, but especially the Pestilence. And then of course there's a bunch of other named LMGs in the bottom left overlay you could farm for. They drop in and outside of the Dark Zones, but the Black Friday is a DZ exclusive. And then lastly over here in DZ East, we got Mass as targeted loot, so you could farm for the Hollow Man Mass that comes with 8% damage to health. And I highly recommend farming for it. I think that's really worth it. It can be really niche, but you could build entire damage to health builds, so I would definitely pick it up. And then of course you could still farm for the Coyote's Mask and the Vile Mask. Those are the two exotic masks that you can get in this game. They can both be dropped inside the Dark Zone as well. And then I also believe the Punch Drunk with the extra 20% headshot damage baked into it can also be farmed inside the DZ. If not, just farm Douglas and Harding today if it's available. Alright agents, now let's go check out the invaded missions, and then of course the north side. Alright agents, north side targeted loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions this week, we got Air and Space Museum, and then Space Admin HQ, Jefferson Plaza, and the two strongholds is Capitol Building and Tidal Basin. Starting off in the north side with Camp White Oak, we got Gear System mods. You could farm this on Heroic if you want to try to get a God Rolled mod, like a 6% crit chance or 12% crit damage or like 13% protection from elites. Or of course you could set the targeted loot at Summit to Gear System mods and run on Legendary if you want to. Otherwise, let's move on to the other three that I do definitely recommend. So first off, we got Aces and Eights at Coney Island Ballpark. So I always recommend running 3 pieces of Aces and Eights with 2 pieces of Heraldo Holding. One of those is going to be a backpack, and you could either put Vigilance or Composure on it. And then of course the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, and I always run the Mantis as my primary, and then the Ekim's Long Stick with Perfect Ranger as my secondary, or the White Death. And then next up, we got submachine guns at Coney Island Amusement Park. I'm glad to see SMGs back in the main targeted loot pool area. So you got 3 exotics you could farm for: the Lady Death, the Backfire, and the Chatterbox. Now of course the Lady Death and the Backfire you could just straight up farm for, but the Chatterbox is quest only, so you need to unlock that first. And if you haven't, I got a quick 5-minute guide video in the top right that shows you how to do that. And then of course in the pinned comment below is my website, shadowgaming.network, which will also show you a step-by-step guide and the video as well. And then of course always remember the Dark Winter and the Apartment SMGs are Dark Zone exclusive. You can get them from like named item caches, and then of course you can also get them from the projects, like the weekly ones if you're really lucky, because they drop a named item. And then of course the named SMGs that do drop in the light zone I recommend is the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider, and then the Perfect Vindictive Talent on the Grudge. Those are 2 good SMGs that drop outside of the Dark Zone. And then lastly, ongoing directive at Manny National Zoo. 2 great bleed damage builds I always give you guys. First one, you're going to need Ridgeway's Pride, 4-piece ongoing directive, and then a Anarchist Cookbook backpack with Perfect Wicked on it. And of course, I always run both of these with the Carnage with Perfect Sadist, and then obviously the Scorpio with Septic Shock. That's a really great bleed damage DPS build. And the second one, you're just going to need the Vile Mask, a Badger Tough backpack with the Creeping Death Talent on it, and 4-piece ongoing directive. I personally like the Ridgeway's Pride one more, but they both are really good. And then of course, Kinley College is closed. Some of you pick your own target to lose. Let's go check out the West, then East, then New York City. Alright, agents, West Side target loot highlights. Starting off with the gear sets, we got True Patriot at the White House. So I'll put my True Patriot SMG build in the top title card, no bottom left overlay right now. And that of course is 4 pieces of True Patriot, the Memento backpack, and a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, running the Lady Death, and the Mop with 10% armor on kill. That's great for solo all the way up to 4-man groups, legendary, heroic content, whether it's strongholds or summit floors, it does it all basically. And then of course you can also swap out that Sokolov chest with Intimidate for one with a Fenris chest piece with Intimidate and run the Chameleon, and that's a really good build as well. And then next up we got Rigor at Foggy Bottom area. So this is great for instant cooldowns and deployable skills, giving you skill power and instant cooldowns, and is the successor to Hardwired. So I definitely recommend it for sure, especially the chest piece, which is going to give you, I believe, 10 or 15% more damage, like skill damage buff. And then lastly, we got Future Initiative over here at Roosevelt Island. So of course the chest and backpack are Operation Iron Horse raid exclusive, so keep that in mind when farming for it. But really, you don't need them. What you can do is get an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a Safeguard talent on a backpack like Murakami or another Alp Summit piece, and that's a really good non-raid exclusive healer build. For normal target loot, we got Petrov at DCD headquarters today. You can farm the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, great for all LMG builds or if you're stacking damage to armor. And then we got, of course, Eligard down here at DARPA for you shield build users, and then shotguns at the Pentagon. So you got 2 exotics, the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent and the Scorpio with Septic Shock. The Scorpio is unlocked at Season 4 level 55, or you can farm shotgun targeted loot, and it runs on any build and is really great, and I highly suggest you guys get it. Otherwise, the Sweet Dreams usually goes on tank and skill builds, and you can melee one-hit kill any purple or red barred enemy, and the cooldown is only 15 seconds. Otherwise, the other 4 best shotguns is the Rock and Roll with Perfectly Extra, that's a DZ exclusive, the Mop with 10% armor on kill, the Custom Inmate 70, and the Marine Super 90. And of course, I always roll close and personal on all of those, except for the Rock and Roll, which is of course, a perfect named item, so it can't be changed. And then next up, of course, we got holsters up at the Potomac Event Center. So you got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which you get at Season 4 level 90, and then of course the Imperial Dynasty and Dodge City holsters. I really recommend all 3, Dodge City for pistol and headshot damage builds, and then of course Imperial Dynasty for the Eclipse Protocol build, and then the Waveform for my turret and drone build, especially for skill damage. You can also farm for the Forge, that's going to give you 50% shield health and equivalent to a whole extra skill tier with the shield health. That's something that you could farm outside of the Dark Zone, unlike the Claws Out. And then the last couple we see is Richter and Kaiser at Bank HQ. You can farm the Forge here actually instead of a holster targeted loot if you're just looking for that one. And then we got gloves at West End if you're looking for the BTSU data gloves. And those are going to grant you overcharge and your allies as well if they're at skill tier 6, and those are really good for skill healing and skill damage builds. And then of course you can also farm the Contractor's Gloves here, but I recommend Petrov, farm the brand not the type. And then next up finally we got rifles at Federal Emergency Bunker. So of course the 2 exotics here is the Merciless and the Diamondback. The Merciless kicks like a horse, so you're going to need 3-piece striker, braced chest piece talent, or weapon handling on 3 to 6 pieces of your gear. And the Diamondback hits really hard in PvE and PvP, but it only has 5 shots. And then of course the named rifles like the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot and the Surge with Perfect Spike are recommended by me to get as named rifles outside of the Dark Zone. And really that's about all it that I can recommend for the west side. Let's move on to the east side now, agents. Alright guys, I guess this is where all the gear sets are on the east side target loot highlights. So starting off with the gear sets, we got Strikers at Jefferson Plaza. I only recommend running 3 pieces for increased rate of fire and weapon handling, never any more than that, and I really don't even like the 3-piece. I'd rather use braced on as a chest piece talent, or weapon handling on all the way up to 6 pieces of gear, rather than waste 3 slots of striker. And then we got Tip of the Spear at Viewpoint Museum. It just really increases specialization weapon damage, and it's for like niche, legendary, and raid missions, and I would use the survivalist specialization with the crossbow to just instantly like strip off armor off some boss or something like that. Otherwise I don't recommend it. And the last 2 we got is Foundry Bulwark at Jefferson Plaza. So just like Future Initiative, the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive on the normal difficulty. But of course, what I recommend is the Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen, and another pair or 1 pair of Bellstone Armory for more armor regen. Stack all the way into armor regeneration, and you got a great tank build right there. And then last gear says Negotiator's Dilemma District Union. So I got double LMG build I'll put in the top right and bottom left overlay. And that of course is 4-piece Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask, Grupo Sombro gloves for AR or SMGs, or the Contractor's gloves for LMGs like the Pestilence or the Bullet King. For normal target loot, let's start with Hana-Yu at Judiciary Square. You can farm the Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms. That is going to give you 30% skill damage, but only for a short 3 seconds, and that's every time you land a shot on an NPC or player. So of course this is a really great backpack, but the alternative is Farm Alp Summit at East Mall today for the percussive maintenance with perfect tech support on it. And that's going to give you 30% skill damage for 30 seconds after killing an enemy with the skill, so that's basically always active. But you will lose the 10% skill haste from Hana-Yu and swap it for 20% repair skills from Alp Summit, so it's going to be a wasted slot for skill haste. And then we got Golan Gear at Air and Space. You can farm the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. That gives you 18% weapon damage for 27 seconds upon applying a status effect. And that's why it's so good for that ongoing directed bleed damage build, which you're proccing non-stop. And then we got Badger Tough over here at Space Admin. So of course you can farm the Zero F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable. Now that's going to repair 100% of just your armor, and the cooldown is 55 seconds. And then we got Bellstone over here at American History Museum. So of course you could farm for the Everyday Carrier perfectly efficient, but like I always say, comment below if you ever even use this. I really don't, and I never have. And then of course the Liquid Engineer backpack with Perfect Bloodsucker is a DZ exclusive, so keep that in mind when farming Bellstone. And really the last one that I see is over here at Walker Harrison Co. Grand Washington Hotel. You can farm that Chainkiller chest piece with Perfect Headhunter on it. I would want that rolled with weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage. Remember, it deals 150% of your last killing blow, which is gonna be, a headshot. So it's gonna be up to like 20 to 50 million damage with the Nemesis, 20 million with like the Mantis. And that's really all I recommend for the DC area. Let's go check out lastly what we got in New York City. Alright agents, last but not least, we're at New York City Target Loot highlights. So the Punch Drunk is where I would farm here. 2 bridges for the Punch Drunk mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it. And then Overlord right here at Liberty Island. I would highly recommend farming this area if you want the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover. That is something I recommend to every agent that should have on an all red DPS build. And then of course we got Hunter's Fury at Battery Park. So I'll put my favorite Hunter's Fury build in the top right now. That's 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Death Grip gloves, the Memento backpack, and I run the Dark Winter, the Scorpio, and the Orbit with Perfect Finisher. And then of course as an alternative, if you want, you can run 4-piece Hunter's Fury, a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, or my personal favorite Obliterate, the Memento, and then all the same weaponry. And you want 3 armor cores, 4 weapon cores, and a skill tier. And then lastly, for the gear sets, we got Hardwired at Civic Center area. So Hardwired is pretty good. You got this one build by running Butcher that does 4-piece Hardwired, a China Light chest with Glass Cannon or Unbreakable on it. And then the Vile Mass running the Jammer Pulse and the Firefly, or of course you can run the Bulwark Shield to get more cooldowns out of it. And then we got Providence Defense at the Tombs. You can find the Sacrifice with Perfect Glass Cannon, amplifying all damage you deal by 30%. That's multiplicative damage, the best type of damage in this game. But of course it also amplifies all incoming damage to you by 60%, so that's a lot. You shred like paper, you're extremely squishy, and I prefer Intimidate or Obliterate over it. And then of course we got Empress over here at Pathway Park. So I'll put my favorite turret drone build in the top right. That is 3-piece Empress, 2-piece Hana-Yu, and the Waveform holster. And of course I run Kinetic Momentum on the chest piece. You could run Glass Cannon as well, but I don't like it. The Force Multiplier backpack, and I run the Capacitor and the Harmony rifle. And then of course Caesar's Guard chest piece with perfectly skilled and the battery pack with perfectly calculated are 2 named Empress pieces that you can pick up outside of the Dark Zone. And then we got MMRs of Financial District. You got 2 exotics, the Mantis you could straight up farm for. The Nemesis however is a quest only, and you could check out my website for a guide on how to get it. And then of course I recommend the named MMRs that you could farm outside the DZ, like Ekim's Longstick with Perfect Ranger, which you could buy at the DZ East vendor this week, and the White Death. And I think last but not least we got assault rifles over here at Wall Street. Oh wait, no, we got backpacks over at Stranded Tanker. So always keep in mind the Memento with Kill Confirmed and the Acosta's Go Bag are the 2 exotic backpacks. So what you're going to want to do if you want the Memento especially is farm backpack targeted loot. That's what's going to get you there. That's the only way to get it, is backpack targeted loot. So now last but not least we got ARs at Wall Street. So of course you got the Eagle Bearer that's tied behind the Dark Hours raid, but the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor with Capacitance are not. You can just straight up farm for the Chameleon and it's a great DPS build, you know, kind of weapon, and the Capacitor is great for DPS and skill builds, but you need to complete 5 summit challenges on any difficulty first. And then of course there's a bunch of named ARs in the bottom left overlay. Rail Splitter is a DZ exclusive, but the rest are not. I recommend probably like, you know, the Burnout named FAMAS, like the Mechanical Animal, and the Test Subject with Perfectly in Sync. Those are really good. Otherwise, that's all I recommend for the New York City area. Alright agents, well that was your daily farming guide for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider pressing the subscribe and like buttons below, and if not, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for my links to my website, merchandise store, my Discord server, my Shadow Crew clan on all platforms, and a lot of more useful info for you guys. And then of course, if you want to become a member for exclusive perks and extra support, you can click the join button below. It really helps me out, and shout out and thank you to all 5 of my channel members. Take care agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents, and I hope you had a lovely weekend and the rest of this weekend.